Hello and welcome to RPG Fresh. Today, I'll be showing you how to play Fane as the most powerful damage wizard in Riverland and Tamriel. We will also show variations of the build to fit a variety of playstyles. For attributes, we max out intelligence for most damage, and then put the rest into wits for critical strike chance. It is important to avoid all other stats, adding memory only as needed. Scrolls can replace most common skills like Clear Mind or Fortify, and the points are better spent increasing damage and critical strikes. The extra points and contributions seen in this example are extras from the items and can change throughout the game. Prioritize gear that gives intelligence or wits attributes. Combat abilities is what make this build extremely powerful. For weapons, max two-handed to increase critical strike damage. Most likely, you will not be using your weapon to attack, so you will want a weapon that boosts attributes or combat abilities. We skip defense as it doesn't matter for this build, and go straight into weapons and skills, maxing both scoundrel and two-handed as much as possible. Both of these will stack our critical multiplier for the highest possible damage in the game. Because you critically strike so often and at such high damage, you will do devastating damage with any school of magic. The rest of the skills in this example comes from items. With this build, any magic spell is devastating, so you can go with whatever your items give at the time, or you can look for specific items that boost particular magic skills you want to use. For Sibyl abilities, we stack Thievery, since the Bony Fingers ability lets Fane pick locks and chests for free. Also, some NPCs require high Thievery skill and have very powerful items that would otherwise be very difficult to get. Place the rest of the abilities as needed. In this example, we chose Sneaking as it works very well with Fane. We use talents to maximize strategy. The pawn is very useful with elemental affinity, as you can pick a surface to walk to and cut down the cost of skills. This can allow you to cast 4 different 2-point skills in one turn, effectively doubling your damage output. The pawn especially works with Scoundrel, allowing you to move very far for 0 AP. With Savage Sortilege, your spells will critically strike, so you're amplifying your damage even further. The rest of the talents are there to raise stats and critical chance. Ingenious gives critical strike from the human race, making Fane more attuned to this build. Finally, the Undead talent comes with Fane and is useful when using poison. If you use a poison spell that hits your opponent and yourself, you will get a surface for elemental affinity, a heal, and most likely a critical hit on the enemy. For items, you can get whatever you want, trying to max intelligence, wits, two-handed, and scoundrel. Then, the magic skill schools that you may want to be using, and finally the armor for magic and physical value resistances. In this example, I happen to have high Aerothurge, and a couple of other schools to work with, so I will set my spells accordingly. They will all crit for ridiculous damage, so it doesn't really matter, especially if you can use them in combinations. This is the variation that we're going to use for the sample battle. So notice, for example, many of the items, they're trying to give me wits or as many stats as you can. Even for example this one, even though it's very low level, the amulet, it's still useful for the runes that give critical chance. You don't need high gear with this build. It's useful. The higher the gear, the more damage. But a lot of these things, as you can see, they're they're level 16 when the character is 18. A special mention goes to the mace or the hammer. It's really cool because it can also be very psychologically strategic, because an enemy won't know what type of player, what type of build it is, because it has a two-handed, and then you're just going to be critically striking. Let's get to it. This is pretty much the Thor build. All that could make him more a Thor if he was like a human Nordic. But other than that, it's gonna be carnage. Okay everyone, this is the video, or the replay of the battle, so that I could showcase the power of this build. Just like critical strike. So first we're gonna get close to the enemy using the free movement from the pawn. the spells are very AoE, so having things close amplifies the damage. Now we use adrenaline, and then use a rain scroll because we don't have Hydrosophist in this case, and this is going to amplify our lightning damage. I'm going to show here using the source skill. And just look at those criticals. Nothing escapes, and if not, they're just stunned. Gareth can just get his revenge, finish him off. But, I mean, he wasn't even needed. Otherwise, by next turn, they'd be stunned. And that lightning hits 3 rounds, so that would again just hit. So, this is an extremely powerful build, especially because of those crits. Okay, now this is a replay of the second battle. This is without using source spells. But a lot of it, there's going to be many similar tactics. For example, we use the AoE to make an oily layer so that we can cast spells for less cost. So, you use the scroll of Clear Mind to increase your power, you use the adrenaline, and then you can just do a boulder toss or any earth spell. In this case we go with Earthquake, just because it just devastates everything. You can also use poison when you stand in the puddles. So that dart is really good. The critical strike usually just kills him. Garrett's just wasting time. Many times when they shoot you with elemental skills, if I had some ice spells, I would be able to use them. So getting hit by a surfaces can be easily turned to your advantage with this build. You can also swap, because she used her tactical retreat to get up there, and now it's pretty much wasted because she's back there surrounded by ice, and I get a higher position. Sometimes it's best to use your last action point if you have it for next turn. That way you can get more combinations off. There's an oil puddle up there, so that's going to actually help us when we try to use more earth skills. So we used Clear Mind again because she taunted and it took it off. So that's why the scrolls are really good to have around. And then we shoot the fossil rock so that we can take advantage of the low cost. And now we're gonna try to ignite the oil we're on so that we can use our fire spells at half cost as well. That skill only costs 1 point, so it's really good. Normally would have taken us 2 points to use this, but with the elemental affinity we get 2. We can use the ignition and then use searing arrows for the same cost, and then we even have a leftover fireball.
Gareth's just doing some damage. The Ray is extremely powerful, especially for only 2 points. It just almost killed her. Now, because there's just 2 left here, I just decided to give her a whack. Just because we can, just to show off all the properties. Then she instantly dies to the magic. The smoke is making the hop hard to use. So we're just gonna use the pawn to get to the oily surface. And there, we can cast 4 spells pretty much. Just because everything costs half. And that's the battle. This is a very powerful build. So as you can see, this is a very strong, probably like the most OP wizard build. And it's very versatile depending on what you have. It could have been like more Hydrosophist or Necromancer or whatever skills you want to put in. They all do a lot of damage. So let me know what you guys would like to see for future videos. Leave it in the comments below.